Good morning, Rise and Shine, everyone. It's April 25th, and you are watching Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program right here on WEAC TV 24. Good morning. I'm Ellen Tibbetts-Hurst. April is Autism and Parkinson's Awareness Month, and this morning we have lots of guests to talk about both of them. And April, like we said, is Autism Awareness Month, and we have Brandy Goldman, who is the owner, and Morgan Dozier, who is the BCBA Chief Clinical Director, right, for ABA? ABA Connect, sorry. So you guys work with those that are on the spectrum. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about ABA Connect and how did it start?
Yeah, so Connect ABA started, we met in the ABA field. Morgan is a BCBA, like you said. I have a master's in healthcare administration. We just, saw the need of ABA services.
And what does ABA stand for those that don't know what it is?
Morgan?
ABA stands for Applied Behavior Analysis. It is a researched and proven effective treatment for autism spectrum disorder.
So it's, what is it again?
ABA therapy.
But
yes.
what does it stand for?
Applied Behavior Analysis.
Applied Behavioral Analysis.
Yes.
Yes.
That is a mouthful. Okay. So we'll just call it ABA.
That's
what it stands for.
Perfect.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So like I said, we saw a need for, the resources. A lot of places offer ABA, but places like Etowah County, they don't have the resources to keep up with the need. There's a lot of children on the spectrum who are in search for ABA. So we started Connect ABA, with the sole purpose of just increasing access to care, for sure, for those kids with an autism diagnosis.
Well, that's wonderful. So tell us a little bit about your services, first of all. Well, let's start with this. Who qualifies for your services? How does someone qualify to be with you guys with ABA to get the behavioral treatment or
first step is we have to have an autism diagnosis from the client's doctor, pediatrician. And then once we get the diagnosis, we will schedule an assessment, and that's just kind of where we go through, see kind of where we're at with certain skills, maybe some opportunities we have, and then also have that opportunity to sit down with caregivers and talk about maybe, some behaviors that we're having that are impeding their ability to kind of function fully independently in their environment. And then we take that information we get from the assessment, and that's where I will do the assessment, but then as the BCBA, I will write the treatment plan. And after I write the treatment plan, we get that kiddo a start date for services, and schedules can vary wildly, kind of on the need and what skills we're needing to work on with them. So right now we have full-time, part-time, and then we also have our social skills group, which is 3 days a week. So depending on what schedule, that kiddo is the best fit for and what will meet their needs, then we, have them start, and they work one-on-one with a RBT, which is a registered behavior technician. And so then that person is responsible for implementing the treatment plan that I've written, and then I provide, supervision and oversight. And obviously, it, sometimes we have to pivot and make a change if we're not seeing the
adjust sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
For sure.
So you said who qualified. So is there an age limit?
So there is not necessarily an age limit. Right now, we are our clientele right now is between the ages of 2 and 10.
Okay.
And we just, a lot of factors go into what time of day we want to be there, what group we, can mesh well in and get the most out of it. So, like during the daytime, that's a lot of our younger kiddos, our early learners for some early intervention. And then our social skills group, which we have 3 days a week, that is where we have our older kiddos come in. And a lot of times what they're working on is, taking turns, sharing, talking to peers, because a lot of kiddos on the spectrum, like we'll talk to mom.
Some adults to you too?
Not yet. It's not within my scope currently. But, working on taking turns. And a lot of kids on the spectrum will talk to mom and dad, talk to close family members, but peers our own age, or we're just not interested in it. So we try to kind of help foster those relationships and help them build connections. So do they come to you, or do you go to them? They come to us. Right now we are currently clinic-based, and we actually have 2 locations.
We have a Birmingham clinic and a Gadsden clinic. So the Birmingham clinic, we just opened. So we opened Gadsden Clinic September 3rd.
Yes.
And we've had that one going.
This is past September 3rd?
Yes.
We are brand new.
Yeah, brand spanking new.
Yeah. And then we opened our Birmingham clinic January the 6th. So we're still very new. Birmingham doesn't have the social skills group just yet. We're still adjusting to all of our full-time kiddos, like she said. But they come to us. You can go on our website to get on the wait list if your child has the autism diagnosis. Me and my operations manager will go through the wait list. We make sure we have all the paperwork. I get to do all the fun back end things to make sure we have the diagnostic evaluation, make sure your insurance covers it, talk to you as the the caregiver to let you know how it's going to be paid for, if there's going to be any patient responsibility, those types of fun conversations, and then we hand it off to the BCBAs and they'll do all that Morgan just spoke about.
Okay. So, wow. Okay, so what?
That's a lot of information.
Yeah. So you serve the Birmingham and the Etowah County
That's right.
Areas, but you don't have to live in Etowah
No,
County, or you don't have to
absolutely
live
not.
in Jefferson County, correct, to receive services.
That's right. So we are clinic based, like she said. So 2 clinics. So if
So
you're
somebody
willing
from
to
Calhoun
drive,
County could come to
For
you,
sure.
or somebody
have
from
some friends.
Cleburne or
as
wherever.
long as they're willing to drive,
Right.
we don't look at where they live as far as
And what are
opportunities
your
to
hours
be.
of operation?
So for Birmingham, they're
We're
open
8 to 4.
8 to
Yep,
4 Monday through Friday. At Gadsden, since we have that social skills group, on Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, we are open 8 to 5 for that 3 to 5 social
Okay.
skills group. On Wednesdays and Fridays, currently we're open 8 to 3 because we don't have that group. So all of our 3 o'clock kiddos leave then.
And you already touched a little bit about the insurance covers those services.
That's right.
And if somebody's insurance doesn't cover that, do you have programs where they can make
Yes.
payments,
Yes.
or do they have or do they have to pay it all up front? How does that work?
So private pay is an option. I will be transparent that ABA therapy gets costly because most kids who are in search for ABA, typically what we see is that they want more full-time care. So when you take an hourly service and you get 40 hours a week, 5 days a
Right.
week for 4 weeks a month, it just it can stack up. But private pay is an option that I'd be happy to discuss. However, we also are partnered with, and we have really good relationships with most of our commercial payers. So typically, I like to brag on one of Gadsden clients that we have. He officially doesn't have an autism diagnosis, but we worked really closely with his school and with his pediatrician's office and with Medicaid, and we got him to cover ABA services.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so I feel really proud in the relationships that we have with our payers that typically we can get it to be covered.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So you said a little bit about social skills, that you guys help with that. Social skills. What other kind of skills do you deal with? Like on a typical day, what do you see?
Communication
Is the
communication.
biggest one, yeah. Because a lot of times with behaviors, because I think a lot of times that can be what people think of first when they think of autism. Those maladaptive behaviors we don't want to see as much. I would say a large percentage of the time those behaviors happen due to a lack of the ability to tell people what you want and need. I always give the example, if I was talking to you right now and I knew exactly what I was saying but you didn't, then that would probably make me very frustrated, and we don't know how we'd react to that. So just giving them the tools to be able to tell people, this is what I want, this is what I need, that usually counteracts.
I mean, because we, with Alabama Cares, we work with, Alzheimer's, dementia patients. The same thing. They can't. Sometimes they can't communicate,
Yeah.
and then we have grandparents raising grandchildren, and they definitely don't know how to deal with the children that are on the spectrum. And there's so many different top levels of autism, and
For sure.
there's some that are nonverbal. There are some children that speak. There's all different types of level, because actually, I think ADHD is like on the bottom of the spectrum or somewhere down in there, from what I gather. But
We do have a lot of clients who have both of those diagnoses, but that's another thing I know we wanted to touch on talking about that. We're also super proud to say that we, I think coordination of care is very important with different providers. So we actually offer speech and OT as well. And so we're able, as practitioners, as BCBAs, to work alongside that speech therapist, that occupational therapist. Like, what are you working on? How can I support you in that way? Here are the things that I'm working on. This is how you can support me in that way. And just like with anything else, learning things, repetition, and everybody being on the same page, the progress is just going to happen so much faster.
And I could understand it. It would probably be frustrating especially for a grandparent that all of a sudden has a grandchild that they never, didn't know how to deal with any of these issues, and having someone that specializes in this makes their life a little easier,
Yeah.
I'm sure, because I'm a firm believer that education is everything. I mean, when you don't understand something, it makes you even more frustrated. And so when you have a little bit more understanding and you're educated about it, and coming to you guys and learning a little bit more about the child and what their needs are or whatever, gives them a little bit more patience to work with them
for
too,
sure.
I feel. Because that's with adults too, with the dementia patients that we have, So the Connect ABA, that's your little logo. I like it. And this is what the ABA helps with, and what all ABA therapy is, right?
Yeah, and I did want to piggyback off of kind of what you were talking about with caregivers. That is another really integral part of what we do. We have what we call caregiver training, and we have that every single month, to where we meet with mom, dad, whoever the caregiver is, let them know what we're working on, ask if they have any concerns, try to train them kind of on what we're doing and see if they can implement it in the home. Because we always say, if I've only helped you have all these awesome skills in the clinic setting, then we haven't really helped you, because we want those skills to generalize to school, to the community, to home, all of those different places. So
and
we really
the
try to
caregiver needs to know, whether it's the parent, the grandparent, whoever needs to know how to deal with that as well.
For sure.
So, so those are the services that you offer. Lots of services.
That's our parent training in the bottom corner.
That's wonderful. So, why choose you?
You want to start?
I mean, I was thinking about this last night, honestly. Why choose? I think our biggest thing is what we really pride ourselves on is, she really hit on it, we're comprehensive. We're partnered with a speech therapy provider. They are also a small business. They are locally owned. We have worked with the person who owns that speech therapy company for years. We've known each other for years. We're local. We're here. We don't have anybody above us who's, telling us who we can and cannot accept. So I think just the biggest thing is, when you apply online, you will likely hear from me.
And that's there's their QR code right there for you to check out their website. So make sure that you take a picture of that, so you can contact them on their website, or you can call them. They're at the Birmingham Clinic and the Gadsden Clinic at your phone numbers. There. So I think
it's one phone number, and then you can choose which location you're looking to reach.
Oh, so you
have like
one phone number, it goes to both of them.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. And then you can also email you as well. And I think that, as young as you guys are, opening this service up, I mean, I think this is wonderful and a testament of your servant heart, and I think that this is wonderful. I mean, I hope that you guys just grow and grow and grow and grow.
Thank you. We're super happy to be here. I'm from Gadsden, so I was happy to come back.
Because I mean, when you're in jobs like ours, you're not in it to be a millionaire.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You're in it because you believe in what you're doing and you believe in helping your communities, and that's why I have people like you guys on the show every Friday. So to let you guys know out there what is available. So thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. And when we get back, we're going to talk about some things about Parkinson's. We have more guests. So we're going to take a break to recognize our sponsors, and don't go anywhere. You are watching Rise and Shine with Alabama Cares right here on WEAC TV 24, and we'll be right back.
Whether you are traveling or on the rebound, get with your local Allstate and huddle up to find the best options for you. With a strong variety of coverages to choose from, Allstate is on a mission to get you in good hands today.
Cutter's Pizzeria is celebrating 5 years with 2 locations in Alexandria and Oxford, Alabama. Open Monday through Saturday for dine-in, takeout, and delivery. Y'all come on out for our popular 5-pound pizza, wings, salads, pastas, and more. You can find out more about Cutter's Pizzeria at cutterspizzeria.com.
Since 1848, First Bank of Alabama has been serving East Central Alabama, now serving 6 counties in East Central Alabama. We now currently have 13 locations, expanding to 15 locations. In 2024, we opened Anniston, right here in Calhoun County. Whenever we first came to Calhoun County, it was 2019 in Oxford. Whenever we're expanding, we're now going to Jacksonville in 2025. We look forward to continuing to be in your local hometown bank right here in Calhoun County and East Central Alabama.
I'm Alan Parnell, with Parnell Insurance Agency. We've been here in Oxford and Alabama, Tallapoosa, Georgia since 1990. With Auto Owners Insurance, we're able to give customers competitive pricing along with excellent coverages. Parnell Insurance can handle all of your personal, commercial, and life insurance needs. We have a very experienced staff, both personal and commercial. All together, we've got about 125 years experience. Come see what our insurance agency can do for you in Oxford, Alabama and Tallapoosa, Georgia.
Auto Owners Insurance.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program right here on WEAC TV 24. I am Ellen Tibbetts Hurst, and we were talking in the first segment with Morgan and Brandy, I think it was, and they were talking about autism and all the great things that they're doing. But April is also Parkinson's Awareness Month, and I have Katie Fordham, who has been my guest before, so she's a pro, and Dr. Jasmine, is that how you say it? Jasmine Dobbins, I like that name. CEO of the Gadsden Pelvic Rehab and Physical Therapy, a board-certified women's health clinical specialist, and an LSVT Big Certified Practitioner for the treatment of Parkinson's disease. So, wow, that's a mouthful, isn't it? So, welcome, ladies. So, there are over 16,000 people in Alabama living with Parkinson's disease. That is an outstanding number, number, with many being added to that number every day. I mean, it's just kind of like dementia and Alzheimer's too, that kind of go in it. And so Governor Ivey, I thought this was awesome when you sent this to me. So Governor Ivey signed a declaration, correct?
Yes.
And she signed the declaration officially making and declaring April as Parkinson's Awareness Month. So tell us a little bit about who she has with her right here.
Sure. So on your left is Bibby Bailey. She is the Executive Director of the Parkinson's Association of Alabama. Phenomenal group out of Birmingham. They do a lot for the Parkinson's community as far as support, providing care navigation, which is just if you have Parkinson's, you can call their number. They'll help you find resources that you need, help you find therapies, ways to connect to your community and support groups. And then you have Mr. Clarence Ponce, on the right, and he is the president of the executive board for the Parkinson Association of Alabama. And again, just a phenomenal resource for us here. They're kind of our state organization, and they have a lot of neat fundraisers, from golf tournaments to bike rides to auctions, all kind of different things that you can get involved with. But one of the biggest things I think that they provide are scholarships for exercise programs.
Oh.
So Jasmine's Clinic and our YMCA here in Anniston for the Calhoun County YMCA offer Rock Steady Boxing, which is a Parkinson's-specific boxing program.
Oh, wow.
And if you are unable to afford that as a Parkinson's patient, you can apply to the PAA, and they will help you go through that process and possibly pay for it.
So the Parkinson's Association of Alabama, you said that's where Miss Bibby Bailey.
Yes.
That's a mouthful too.
Yes, it is.
Miss Bibby Bailey, I like it though. So she is the executive director, so they can call the Parkinson's Association of Alabama, which is the PAA. So can they find that online?
Yes, just Google Parkinson Association of Alabama, and it should pop right up.
And they can call and get all the information and everything about it. And we're going to talk about that too, because that's interesting.
Yes.
My little wheels started turning, so that's great. So, Katie, the last time you were here, we talked about a lot of things. Parkinson's, right?
Yes.
And you actually brought in, guys, you need to go to YouTube or to our Facebook page and go back to that episode, because it was a good one too. It was so good because you were so open about everything that you've been through, because you're so young. You were diagnosed at a young age.
At 36.
Right. So, and you were talking, the last time we talked, you were talking about the device that you had. Tell us a little bit about that. And how are you doing?
Yes. So, first of all, I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing absolutely great. I've had my device, so go ahead and explain that real quick. It's called deep brain stimulation, and it is where they go in and they insert basically an antenna deep inside your brain, and I have two of them. I have one here and one here, and they go down to about halfway down, and it sends out an impulse that is controlled by a stimulator in my chest, and it interrupts the negative signals that my brain is creating because of the lack of dopamine that my brain produces. And so that interrupts all the negative signals, so I can sit here and I can be still. I'm not moving, I'm not tremoring.
I was about to say, so it helps with your tremors.
Absolutely.
It helps with all of that.
Absolutely. If I did not have it, I don't know that I could physically sit in this chair because I would be moving so much.
Is that not amazing?
So it has truly been life-changing for my family and for myself.
how wonderful that research has come so far in just, in every aspect of health. When you hear things like this, it's
Absolutely.
just so fantastic. And it's and you're such a wonderful person. I've gotten to know you over the year, and you're so wonderful, and you're so kind, and you have such a good heart. And I think that is just wonderful. And what better way to tell people about it and to help people than your own testimony.
Right.
And so, because I know that when you were here last time, you actually brought and showed us like an example. I mean, that was just wow. We might need to do that again, because that was fascinating.
Absolutely.
Absolutely fascinating, and how awesome it is. And how long has this been available?
So, deep brain stimulation has been around probably. Michael J. Fox was one of the first people to have it. It was totally experimental when he had it.
Okay.
It was probably in the 90s, but it has gained more footage, more ground over the last...
And I'm sure it's come a long way, too.
It has. In fact, now they actually have systems that are almost AI controlled, so you don't have to change your stimulation levels. It adjusts it for you based on your...
How awesome is that?
Activities and all different kinds of stuff. I'm still a little uneasy about having AI control my brain.
Right.
Not sure about that one yet.
I don't blame you though on that. I don't know. I'd have to think about that too. I get you. Yeah.
But really, it's gained ground in the last really 10 years. 10 to 15 years is really gaining ground. But because the bulk of the Parkinson's population is older, you have to be very careful about having deep brain stimulation. Very rigorous testing that you have to go through to be approved, because if you have signs of dementia, having deep brain stimulation can trigger that and excel it.
Yes.
And they don't want that to happen. So the population of Parkinson's people that actually are qualified for the surgery is under about 1/4%. But again, a lot of that has to do with the aging of the population.
Right, because a lot of times people don't realize that Parkinson's sometimes goes hand in hand with dementia.
Yes,
so
it can,
because when someone has dementia, different parts of your brain is dying, and that part that controls movement.
Yes.
Or,
your dopamine receptors.
Yes. That's no longer there. And so. That's very interesting.
Yeah, but at the same time, don't let age be a deterrent, because I've talked to a lady, she was 82, and she got to have this, and it did phenomenal things for her.
Awesome.
Exactly. So age is not necessarily a deterrent. It is you specifically and how you come through the testing and what the test finds.
Your health and all that, I'm sure, has something to do with it.
Absolutely.
And I'm a firm believer, guys, that anytime that the worst, I always ask questions, because the worst thing that somebody can say to you is no.
Right. You have to advocate for yourself.
And then you just go on from that and go to the next step that you have to go through, right?
Yes.
But I think it's wonderful because, I'm a firm believer, and I used to teach wellness classes to caregivers and to seniors, and I was a big advocate for not allowing, symptoms, or not allowing diseases to identify who you are.
Right.
That's because that's not who you are. Because when you meet somebody, you don't say, "Hi, I'm Katie and I have Parkinson's."
It depends on the circumstances.
Right. Yes. You're not at a conference. You're not at a conference. You're not at an event. On a normal day-to-day thing, because that's not what defines you.
No, that's
you're
not
Katie.
who I
You're
am.
the person who, you're a mom. You're a wife. You're a pastor's wife.
Yes.
You're all these things, and that's not. And I'm a firm believer in that. And I used to tell those in my class, I would say, just because you have diabetes doesn't mean that, that's who you are.
Right.
It's just a card you're dealt, and you have to deal with it, kind of thing. So, and I commend you for that, because you live life, and you just take the bull by the horns, and you're advocating for others that are going through what you're going through, and I think that's fantastic. And then you was the one that got me to meet Dr. Dobbins over here, so which is great, Jasmine. I love that name. It's just such a cool name. So let's talk a little bit about Parkinson's exactly, so that the audience knows a little bit more about that. So you guys talk
please
go
ahead.
Talk a little bit about. Just talk a little bit about the disease in and of itself.
Sure. So Parkinson's disease is one of those things that the cause is unknown for most people. A lot of people will say, "Oh, it's genetics, it's genetics." Only about 12% of people with Parkinson's have a genetic cause that they have found so far. There's so much we don't know about the human biome, genetic biome, and they're learning a lot every day, and I commend our foundations, Michael J. Fox, Davis Finney, and all these groups that are just doing tremendous things for people with Parkinson's. And I'll also put in a plug for Israel because they do so much. Over half of our Parkinson's research comes out of Israel.
Really?
Because if you are Ashkenazi Jewish descent, you are 40% more likely to develop Parkinson's. So every major university in Israel has a Parkinson's research center. And so they're so vital to our Parkinson's research, which is another reason to love Israel and support Israel. And they're just a blessing in so many different ways.
That is fascinating.
It is.
And I mean, and I guess it's with certain cancers, I mean, there's all these, that certain populations have a higher percentage, but I mean, is it the same as, like, I always say, when I go talk to family members about dementia, for instance, just because your mama has it doesn't mean you're going to get it.
Correct.
Does it mean you have a higher percentage rate of maybe a risk of having it? Maybe, probably. Just like I have a higher risk of getting breast cancer because my mom had it at such an early age at 35. So, but does it mean I'm going to get it?
Right.
No, but because just because somebody else in your family had it doesn't mean you're going to get it. So prevention, with cancer, your tests and all that kind of stuff too. So, so that's very interesting.
Yeah.
That most of the research comes from Israel. I
lot of it
love
does.
to learn stuff,
Yeah.
neat
Had
things
no
every
idea.
day.
Yeah.
Like, yes, that's awesome.
So, but Parkinson's, in a nutshell, is your dopamine receptors don't transmit or make dopamine. So a lot of people talk about dope being the happy drug. So dopamine controls your emotions, it controls motion. So that's why a lot of people with Parkinson's have a tremor. They have issues walking, their gait is off, they move very slowly, which is called bradykinesia. They shuffle their feet. All of that comes back to the dopamine. You see the mask, they have no expression to their face. They don't have the dopamine levels to be able to do that kind of stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And well, I immediately go to Muhammad Ali as one of the first people that I think of. All the damage that was done, in his boxing career. But I remember that at the very, towards the end there, he did not have
No expression
much
to it,
expression.
no.
To come to think of it,
They call that the Parkinson's mask.
Oh,
So,
that
but
makes interesting.
yeah, but there is no cure at this time. I'm very thankful that our government in the last year has stepped up, and they are now putting an emphasis on Parkinson's and Parkinson's research, and they are working to help end Parkinson's, which is a blessing. It's brought a lot of attention to Parkinson's. You've probably seen commercials and things like that. It's hitting the news a lot more. You realize more and more people
Isn't that a
have
wonderful thing?
Awareness always helps.
Yes.
Education
And we're gonna
always
talk
makes a
about
difference.
More awareness, and we're going to talk about what Dr. Dobbins, Miss Jasmine, does over here too as well. So we're going to take a break again to recognize our sponsors. So don't go anywhere. You are watching Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program right here on WEAC TV 24, and we will be right back.
At First Class Roofing and Solar, we are not here to sell you a roof. We are here to get your insurance to buy you a roof. From roofing to gutter installation and detaching and resetting solar panels, we've got you covered. So, Mr. Ward, was it easy working with us?
Yes, you guys handled everything with my insurance company, and the hardest thing I had to do is pick out the color for my shingles.
Leave the hassle to us. We'll handle the insurance process so you don't have to. Get your free estimate today. Call 989-THE-GOAT and let us take care of your roof and your insurance too.
Hey guys, this is Blair Smith at Pediatrics Plus here in Anniston, located on Henry Road. I'm over here on the well side, but we do also have a sick side urgent care if you need us. We are more than happy to see you guys. Just come on, check us out if you get a fever, cough, or cold, or want to come in for a good checkup. Thank you.
Hi, welcome to Classic 13. How can I help you?
I was thinking about getting a tattoo. Do I need to make an appointment?
No, we take walk-ins every day. Let's find someone to help you. Follow me. Hey, if you'll have a seat right here. Thank you.
Come down to Classic 13, where good tattoos aren't cheap and cheap tattoos ain't good.
Family Prosthetic and Medical Supply, we care about you. We offer custom prosthetics, orthotics, diabetic shoes, and durable medical supplies. We're located here in Alexandria, Alabama, where it's a country feel but professional care. Come see us today.
Gotcha.
Scotty.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Rise and Shine with Alabama Cares program. It is Friday. We call it Friday here.
There you go.
So we always do the Friday dance. Are you ready to do the Friday? You remember the Friday dance? We did the Friday dance last time.
No, I don't remember that.
You just
Sorry.
do the Friday
Okay.
dance. It's Friday. It's Friday. Yes. Had to throw some fun in there, right? Because it is Friday, and hopefully we get some good weather. It's been raining, but I'm okay with the rain, y'all, because pollen is absolutely killing me. Okay, so we've been talking all things Parkinson's, and we were talking about the research, and I think it's so wonderful how people are talking about it, like you said, awareness. And I go back to this all the time. Every time I go out into the public and talk about Alzheimer's and dementia when I'm doing education, it's with anything. The more you talk about it, the more people get curious, the more awareness, the more you start
Get
moving
involved.
things. You want to things start moving. So just like, and I use this as an example, but I think it's a wonderful example, like breast cancer. Long time ago, it was a C word. Nobody wanted to talk about cancer, period. And then a group of women, what do us women do? We go and march in Washington, D.C., right? And all the state capitals, and we say, we need free mammograms, right? Which I think it was fabulous because it got people talking. And look how far, there's not a cure yet, but how far the research and how far testing and all that has come, and I think that's wonderful for what you do because it gets people talking. You want people to talk about it. It's not a taboo subject. You want people to talk about it.
It's not, and Parkinson's can be a very isolating diagnosis because of the lack of dopamine. You have a lot of anxiety, you have depression, you have apathy, fatigue, and so it can be very isolating. So to know that someone else is walking that road with you, they know what that journey looks like, is so vital. And I tell a lot of people the best thing you can give somebody with Parkinson's besides Jesus is somebody else with Parkinson's. Because though we may
and we
not,
have your information too.
Yes,
we can give that out.
absolutely.
Yes.
And though we may not look the same, our symptoms may not be the same, our medications, whatever, we still get it because it's the same journey.
Yeah, and everybody's journey is a little bit different, but it's you're in the same boat.
Absolutely.
Right? So this is your information and your phone number here. So if somebody wants to talk to you, you can guide them because all things.
I don't know all things.
Well, you're very educated in this, which I think is wonderful. You've just hooked me up with all kinds of people the last few. Like we had our monthly event, and you hooked me up with Emily, and she was our speaker, and now Miss Jasmine, she's got her.
It's about networking.
I would say that you are the guru in Calhoun County, Katie. I'm just going to say that. So yes.
Okay.
Yes. I will label you as such. Okay,
Thank
you're
you.
the guru.
I'll take it.
Okay. So, Dr. Dobbins, we're talking a little bit about what you do. So, you're at the
Gadsden Pelvic Rehab and Physical Therapy.
Gadsden Pelvic Rehab and Physical
And physical therapy.
And physical therapy. Okay. Yeah. So, you do a little bit. You do things a little. Well, you do something a little bit different that people maybe don't think about.
Yes.
When it comes to rehab and physical therapy, and you actually you specialize with Parkinson's, those that have Parkinson's.
That's right.
And you specialize, which I didn't know this, but apparently when you have Parkinson's disease, there what is called the floor,
the pelvic
floor. I knew there was something floor. I knew that. So there's a pelvic. Yeah, she even has an example. Yes. So she has a pelvic floor. So, yes, and so yeah. So you specialize in that, and then there's and this is some of the things that you were talking about, moving disorders. That you specialize in all of these. Wow.
That's right, yeah. So complex movement disorders is an underserved area in physical therapy in general. And Parkinson's, of course, falls in that category of complex movement disorders. So disorders that affect your ability to do the things that you really want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
So
I guess you would have to be a little bit specialized for strokes, Parkinson's. MS, wow, vertigo disorders.
Vertigo disorders.
That's awesome that there's somebody out there that, see, that's why you guys always need to, you need to tune in every Friday to that Rise and Shine program with the Alabama Cares program. I really do try to bring new information to our public out there, to the community, because I'm a firm believer, if you don't know, you don't know. And knowledge is power. We're wanting people to empower them to make good decisions and empower them to live the best life that they can live. That's why I'm so glad you had her come.
Yes,
absolutely. This is so wonderful. So how common, because you're talking about the pelvic floor, her little
My emotional support pelvis.
Yes. So obviously there's urinary and bowel problems with patients that have Parkinson's, and that's not that it's very common. It's common.
So
it's
common. In
absolutely.
fact, somewhere, depending on what research paper you read, is somewhere between the 80 to 93% range of people with Parkinson's have bowel and bladder issues.
That's a pretty big percentage.
Absolutely. It is, yeah. And talking about taboo subjects, or subjects
embarrassing. Nobody wants to talk
nobody
about
wants to talk
it.
about how they poop, but I'm here for it. Talk about
she
it all
is. Dr. Daughters is here to help you out.
Yes, that's right.
That's wonderful, and it's wonderful that you can have that type of attitude too. Because I can, now that we've talked about it and talk about how the movements in your body and you have no control or whatever, I could see where you would have bladder dysfunctions like incontinence. Or urgency that you've got to go like right then. You can't wait.
Absolutely.
So what types of bladder dysfunctions do you normally see?
Well, so people with Parkinson's, one of the most common dysfunction that you see is something called a neurogenic bladder. And first off, normal micturition, that's a fancy word for how you pee. Your pelvic floor muscles are a little contracted. It's called resting tone. You don't have to squeeze them, they're just doing their thing. And your bladder's relaxed. And as your bladder's relaxed, it fills up. And then you get ready to go to the restroom and you sit down or stand up, however you do it. And your pelvic floor muscles relax and your bladder contracts, and that's how you go.
Right.
But with a neurogenic bladder, Katie talked a little bit about dopamine receptors. Well, you have those in your spinal cord too. And if you have disruption in the dopamine receptors in your spinal cord, then you lose that reflex arc that tells your bladder it's time to contract and your pelvic floor muscles it's time to relax. And that's how you get, or that's a simplified version of how you get a neurogenic bladder. So when that's the case, when you get ready to go pee, your bladder contracts, but your pelvic floor muscles contract. And so you might get a little dribble or a little slow leak, but you're not able to empty your bladder.
And this is different than menopause, ladies, okay?
It is different from menopause, but there are some similarities too.
Okay, interesting.
And then you're done and you go on about your day, and then your pelvic floor muscles relax and your bladder relaxes, and then you get a slow leak that way too. And when you're trying to empty your bladder and you can't empty your bladder all the way, that starts to lead to something called urinary retention. So your bladder isn't able to empty all the way, it continues to fill. It's really uncomfortable. It causes a lot of urgency, obviously, and of course incontinence, and that really decreases people's social ability. You don't leave the house if you're leaking,
right?
Or you don't leave the house if you feel like you've got to pee all the time. How uncomfortable is that?
Right.
So there's so many
constantly
things.
telling the people that you're with, hang on, I gotta go to the restroom.
Right.
Or, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But neurogenic bladders is fairly treatable. Electrical stimulation, so many things in Parkinson's is electrical stimulation wise, but a really neat thing that your physical therapist can do if you're an appropriate candidate. So always make sure that you get an evaluation first, because there are some things that like pacemakers that would make us go, oh, we may not can do that. But
my husband has a pacemaker. So
yeah, right.
This would be a no-go.
Your tibial nerve, so there's a nerve in your leg, it's called the tibial nerve, and it shares an up the chain pathway to a point in your spinal cord. It's called the sacromicturition center, because we like big words in medicine. So your sacromicturition center, that's where the nerves to your bladder run. But we can actually do stimulation in that tibial nerve and help short arc that long reflex loop, so you're not having to rely on those dopamine receptors in order to empty your bladder.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
A simple TENS unit.
It's simple TENS
a
unit.
TENS unit.
Yes.
Wow.
Exactly.
And then
yeah.
they could wear the TENS unit and actually be able to go out with friends and do things.
You know, really the research is showing 30 minutes once a week.
Oh, so I don't have
something
to
as
keep
little as
it
that.
on.
Yeah,
They'll
not
just do it for a
necessarily.
short period of
Now,
time.
there are times where I'll prescribe it longer, depending on what they've got going on.
Right.
But if you read, a battery of research papers, almost all of them are going to use that 30 minutes once a week model.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Something so simple to
Wow,
fix such a big issue.
simple. Yeah, and that's it. 30
Yeah.
minutes a week.
Yeah.
Just to fix that, to socialize again, to go to church again, to be able to go out to eat with your family again, to go on vacation again, to go on a car ride.
Absolutely.
Like just a car ride, so
Just
you don't
a
have to
car ride.
like stop 10 times. My husband would probably say, "Do you have this?" Because I'm one of those that have to stop all the time.
You should come see me.
So
I don't just treat Parkinson's.
This is fascinating, though. So your pelvic floor, I can see why that would cause a lot of issues with, especially with someone that has Parkinson's. So that goes to, I guess, for constipation, diarrhea, all of it, right?
So constipation is upwards of 80% of people, kind of like urinary problems, people with Parkinson's have constipation. And in fact, it's oftentimes one of the very first symptoms that people get, and they don't realize that that's an early symptom of Parkinson's, but it very common is.
Yeah.
And with the constipation, that also ties into urinary issues. So our bladder works off of stretch receptors, and so the inlining of your bladder is covered in these cells. They're called urothelial cells or umbrella cells. And when the bladder fills and it puts a stretch on those cells, that sends the signal out to those nerves. But it doesn't have to be urine inside your bladder to trigger those stretch receptors in those cells. If you have constipation and that stool is pressing in on our bladder and causing some distortion on those cells, then you're going to get the same signal. Your brain doesn't know whether it's urine or whether it's something else that's causing that pressure. And then that also drives into some of the urinary symptoms that you get with Parkinson's because of the constipation. But mobility leads to motility. And the more mobile you can be, the better your constipation symptoms often are.
True.
Right. So that's one of the first places that we start. How do we help you be more mobile? So it's not just about bowel and bladder, but how we make the whole person. Nobody's just a bladder, right?
No.
How do we make the whole person more
Drinking
mobile?
water and exercise or whatever.
Yeah.
High fiber foods.
Yeah, high fiber foods. Some of the simplest things you can do. Wake up. Our bowels love a schedule. They love a schedule. Wake up at the same time every single day.
Yep.
When you wake up, drink something warm, eat something that you have to chew. It stimulates the gastrocolic reflex and it helps our bowels go. And then walk for 10 minutes or whatever your mobility looks like. If you can't walk, you can move in the bed or move in your chair for 10 minutes. That's going to help stimulate those reflexes and help you go better.
Now this is very interesting. We're going to come back because I have more questions. Okay, so we're going to take a break again to recognize our sponsors, and don't go anywhere. You're watching Rise and Shine with the Alabama Cares program right here on WEAC TV 24, and we will be right back.
I want to live. The leading cause of death of young Americans like me is gun violence, and oftentimes tied to substance misuse. NBA, NFL, NCAA, most of you look like me, and our communities need you now more than ever. Let's make I Want to Live more than just a hashtag. Let's make it a movement. I am a baller against bullets.
At Alexandria Brake and Muffler, we strive to perform exceptional service using premium quality parts to ensure your vehicle withstands the test of time. We do all automotive maintenance and repairs consisting of AC service, check engine light diagnostics, brakes, coolant, and exhaust. Give us a call today. Proudly serving our community to provide honest, high-quality service and repair at a fair price.
At Southern States Bank, we pride ourselves on being your bank. We're your neighbors and involved in the community. We're the bank featuring the Southern Rewards checking account, a cashback account with no ATM fees. We are on the cutting edge and always have a smiling face to help you out. So come to Southern States Bank, where we are committed to great service and being a great neighbor. Let us be the bank for you and your business.
Hello, my name is Bob Couch, and I'm the owner of Couch's Jewelers. We are your destination for engagement rings, wedding bands, and anniversary and birthday gifts. We offer a wide selection of the best value diamond jewelry and engagement rings. We even gift wrap every purchase for free. And if you have some jewelry that is broken, no worries. Expert jewelry service is offered in-house. At Couch's Jewelers, our customer service is unmatched. If you would like a special jewelry item created just for you, please come to see us.
Everyone, rise and shine with the Alabama Cares program right here on WEAC TV 24. I'm Ellen Tibbetts-Hurst, and I'm here with Katie and Dr. Jasmine Dobbins. And we were talking about the pelvic floor. Who would have known? Here we are doing it, right, on a Friday, talking about the I can mark that off my list that I've talked about, right? It's very interesting, though. I mean, it's, well, I can see where there's issues with someone that has Parkinson's, especially. But it's just something everybody really needs to talk about, I guess.
Everybody has a pelvic floor.
Everybody has a pelvic floor.
Everybody has a pelvic floor.
Yeah. And so you were talking about how someone that has Parkinson's, how they will have issues urinating, and they're having retention or having urgency or the constipation and having that pressure, and and that would be a huge bummer in your life. I can see where it would deter people from going anywhere or wanting to do anything. So what strategies or exercises do you have or do you use to help manage those symptoms?
Yeah, so there's this huge misconception that if you're having urinary incontinence, that your pelvic floor muscles are weak. And yes, they probably are weak, but they're probably weak in a way that you're not thinking about. So when we think weak, we think just kind of loose. But tightness, overactivity can make those muscles weak. And I don't love the bicep analogy, but it's easy to understand. If your muscles are here and you try to squeeze them, they got nowhere to go, right?
Right.
So one of the ways, strategies, you can just do this at home even, is creating some length in those pelvic floor muscles, and we can actually use our diaphragm to do that. So our respiratory diaphragm and our pelvic floor diaphragm work together as one big piston.
Really?
And when you inhale and your respiratory diaphragm moves down, your pelvic floor diaphragm moves down. And you can create some length or a little stretch in those muscles. Just use your diaphragm breath. So let's practice. So put our hands on your tummy, hands on your belly, and breathe in through your nose. And as you breathe in through your nose, make your hands rise with your belly. And then exhale. And now on the next one, see, can you feel your pelvic floor muscles move down just a little? If you don't, come see me.
Yes.
Yeah. That is a great way. That's a way to help relax these muscles, to help you pass a bowel movement. That's a great way to help create some range of motion in these muscles so that when you squeeze, they got somewhere to go.
That you think is so
mundane.
Yeah. That you don't want to talk about, you don't want to deal with it, but something very simple.
Yeah. And then if those strategies don't work, we're here to help you get that function back in those muscles.
Wow.
You can get that muscle function back. It's doable.
And doesn't she seem like she would just be one of those people that you could just sit down and just say, this is what's happening, and she'd be like, okay, this is what we gotta do. I feel that with you.
Yeah. I'm blessed to have a job that I love with all my heart.
Yeah, so they can contact you here at the Gadsden Pelvic Rehab and Physical Therapy. You are located in Rainbow City, and you also have a clinic in Oxford.
I do. I've got 2 clinics.
Okay, so what days are you in Rainbow City?
We're open Monday through Friday at both locations.
Oh, okay.
I have a whole wonderful team to help take care of you.
Team.
Oh, that's wonderful. So they can call this one number.
Yeah, that's our Rainbow City clinic. If you go to GadsdenPelvicRehab.com, you can get the numbers to both of our clinics. I was underprepared for this.
That's okay.
True Jasmine style.
Or if they did call that number, I'm sure they'd give them.
They can absolutely help take care of you at that same number.
Yes, okay. So that's amazing. So what are the biggest myths or misunderstandings about pelvic health and Parkinson's?
One of the biggest myths is that men don't have this problem too. But they absolutely do. They have pelvic floor.
Well, they have to urinate too.
They do have to urinate too. And when we think about urinary incontinence, oftentimes we think about women have the issue, and it is more common in women.
Or going through menopause. That's the first thing you think of.
Absolutely, but Parkinson's-related constipation is actually more common in men.
Oh, really?
It is absolutely more common in men. So there's this gender myth about it, and then the idea that because you have Parkinson's that you don't have these other age-related changes that happen to you. If you have Parkinson's, you're still going to go through menopause, and if you have Parkinson's, you're still going to have a prostate that continues to grow. It's the only organ in the entire human body that continues to produce cells as you get older and continues to grow. So those things compound on that, and oftentimes it makes those symptoms
because they're not going to say, well, hang on a minute, time out, because they're having pelvic floor issues because of Parkinson's. We got to hold off on menopause. It's not going to do that.
That's not how it works at all.
That is not how life works. Yeah.
So sometimes those things they get like, or they get misdiagnosed. Like, well, that's a Parkinson's symptom when it might not be, and the treatment for that might be sometimes fairly simple. Yeah.
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 Wow.
I know, it's really crazy, right?
Guys, you guys really need, like, if you're having any of these symptoms or you have any questions, you really need to call Dr. Jasmine.
Yes, we got you.
Dobbins over here, yeah. And then call Katie if you have any questions about Parkinson's. You guys are just full of information. This is awesome. Now, you were talking about support groups earlier. So
absolutely.
are there any, I know there was one in Calhoun County for a while. Is that one still going
there.
on?
Yep, still there.
Okay. Is there one in Etowah, one in Cleburne?
Gadsden support group.
Gadsden has a support group for Parkinson's. That is awesome. And how about Cleburne County, do you know? Or Clay County?
I don't know about Clay.
Talladega?
I cannot remember off the top of my head. I know Calhoun, Etowah, then we go toward Auburn, Opelika.
Okay.
Then more toward Birmingham area. A lot of our
Cherokee, do you know?
Cherokee does not have one anymore.
Oh, Cherokee.
So a lot of our more rural counties do not have the support groups. However,
you want to start one?
Yeah. UAB and the American Parkinson's Disease Association have teamed up, and we have a virtual support group that meets the second Monday at 6:30, and we're on Zoom. And you can contact me. I'll get you in touch with Brooklyn White.
That's wonderful.
And we've got a great group, very diverse in ages. We're fairly well mixed as far as men and women. And we have all kind of different speakers. Everything is very focused on PD, the things that we need to learn for us to be able to be our best us.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and who better to talk to than somebody that's right there in it with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you may be dealing with two different things, but you're in the same boat, like you said, like you still get it. You understand what's going on. Wow. So we were talking earlier too, Dr. Dobbins, about what you're doing with pickleball. At the YMCA. And we'll talk about that a little bit here in a minute. But first of all, I want to start, speaking of YMCA, you were talking about the whole thing that you're doing. Is this what you were talking about? Was the pickleball thing or no?
No, it was not.
Oh, so we're...
Yeah, so Rocksteady Boxing.
Tune in.
Yeah, Rocksteady Boxing is...
Yeah, it's a boxing thing.
Yes, it is offered at the YMCA for Calhoun County, but they also offer it at their clinic as a partnership with the YMCA of Etowah County.
Yeah, the Etowah County.
So that's one thing they offer, and from that came the pickleball.
That's right. That's right. So there's an advocacy group. It's called STEP. It's Starting Together to End Parkinson's. It's a rehab-driven advocacy group, and our goal is to provide equipment and financial support, kind of like the PAA. If people need help affording Rocksteady Boxing and different kinds of therapy so that you can continue to move and live your best life. So we have a pickleball tournament fundraiser. It's October the 11th.
A graphic for that too. Yeah.
Yeah, October the 11th. It's at Oxford, like the dopamine, like dopamine.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we would love your support of that if you want to
Serve,
participate.
smash, and support. I like it.
Absolutely.
If you want to support or come play pickleball or any of those things, hit us up at step4pd@gmail.com and we'll get you all that information.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we're looking for sponsors to help with that too.
They're looking for sponsors. People, if you're interested, make sure that you contact them and make sure that you know, if you miss any of this or you need to get numbers or whatever, you can always go back to YouTube, Apple, Roku, Fire Stick, all that good stuff that we're on. WEAC TV is on, but you can also go to our Facebook page and there will be a link to this show later on, and you can go there and you can get all the information, fast forwarded, whatever, to get all the information that you need. So that is fantastic.
Yes.
So wow. So I'm jealous because I always wanted to do the boxing, like exercise classes. You know, that just seems so much fun. Yeah, get out some aggression. I don't know. I don't have much, but you know. So when someone comes to you, before they come to you, do they have to go to a doctor and be diagnosed with something, or you know, like say for instance, they have some pelvic floor issues, or so do you get a referral from a doctor? Is that how that works?
That is one way. So you absolutely can go to your doctor and say, hey, you know, I've heard about pelvic floor physical therapy for this. I'd really like to try it, and then they'll write you a referral. There's no contraindication to physical therapy for this. But in Alabama, in June of last year, we got limited direct access for physical therapy. So you can go see your physical therapist now in Alabama for 11 visits before you need a referral. So it's a little piece of fighting for advocacy for direct access, because I don't know why physical therapy is so gate-kept here.
Right.
When there's so many
and
things
it
we
should
could
be
do.
like, I mean, because you know if you are having issues, who knows your body better than you do, you know?
Yeah.
So that would be great. So you can actually come to you for 11 visits before it gets so involved that you might have to go to a doctor to get a referral, correct?
Absolutely.
Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. Now, of course, there are insurances that require a referral from your
then
doctor.
you have that too.
That's a whole other animal. But as far as the ability to see your physical therapist in Alabama, you can just call them up, make an appointment.
Right. So do you specifically see those with? Because I saw you there was all kinds
all the
of
stuff.
Yeah, all the names. It was a mouthful. So yeah. So you specialize with the MS and the Parkinson's and stroke patients and that so forth. So.
And we do LSVT Big for Parkinson's, which is a physical therapy and occupational therapy specific large amplitude movement program. And there's also a speech therapy component too that is LSVT Loud to help your voice and be able to project your voice, and then even help with some of those chewing and swallowing muscles. And then I'm also
that would be an issue too, wouldn't it?
It's an issue. There's so many things. Yeah, a lot of things that you don't think about.
Things that we take for granted.
Absolutely.
I mean, folks, seriously, things that we take for granted. And I mean, if you have anybody in your family, or you know someone at your church, or you know a neighbor, or somebody that's struggling with Parkinson's and they just kind of stay homebound and kind of themselves, I mean, this is great information, because you may not be dealing with it yourself, but I'm a firm believer that you just plant a seed in somebody's mind and let it grow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's wonderful. You guys do such great work. Yeah, that's awesome. I love your enthusiasm.
I get excited about something.
I mean, Katie embraces life, and I love that. And your enthusiasm over the pelvic floor is just awesome. But I mean, I feel that people would feel more comfortable coming to you because of that, because you do have such a good attitude about it, because we all have it. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. I mean, it's just a thing that you can try to overcome, and you'll help them do it.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, you can't cure them, but you can help them with some of the hardships that they're having, and maybe enrich them to have a better quality of life.
That's what it's all about.
Right? Because we're here for a reason, right? So make sure that you get all that information and contact Katie and Dr. Dobbins. Will have their graphic up with their numbers again, because this is really good information. And I feel like not only family members, caregivers, we were talking about as well, but not only those people that need to know it, but I feel like professionals need to know all this as well.
Right.
Just with our first segment, the first guest that we had, when Morgan was talking about how they dealt with caregivers of those that are dealing with autistic children that are on the spectrum. You know, the caregivers need some support and need some education as well. So
it's about the team.
Yeah, it's a team. It's a team effort, and thank you guys so much for doing what you do. I mean, I appreciate that, and we're gonna and don't forget, guys. And I would love to have you come to one of our events, because we have the Community Health Series in Oxford, Alabama. And guys, some days we have 10 people, we've had 100 people there before. And this is the best kept secret, because it's free education, free. I can't stress stress that enough. And we have all our vendors, and Katie's one of the vendors, so you can come and talk to her
Yes.
for free.
Absolutely.
She's she's been sticking with me through thick and thin. I love it, and I thank you for it. But we have vendors there that give giveaways that are there to answer questions. And we have door prizes. We have the most wonderful door prizes. And these are our events. Our next event is May 20th. They're always at the Oxford Civic Center from 10 to 12. It's a 2-hour event. Again, it is free. You do not have to register. We would love to have you, and I would love to have you there as a speaker, because we have speakers every month, and we're going to have some great speakers for Mental Health Awareness Month for May. So with that, we're running out of time, and thank you so much, ladies, and thank you all out there for watching Rise and Shine with Alabama Cares program, and we'll see you again next Friday on WEAC TV 24. You have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.